God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A few items here. I have a proclamation to read. Whereas the city of Winona and the state of Minnesota has a significant interest in the continued vitality of general aviation, aircraft manufacturing, aviation educational institutions, aviation organizations, and community airports. And whereas general aviation and the Winona Municipal Airport have an immense economic impact on the city of Winona, and whereas Minnesota is home to 135 public system airports which serve 12,483 pilots and 5,679 registered and airworthy aircraft, and whereas Minnesota is home to 111 fixed base operators, 50 repair stations, 83 heliports, 13 FAA approved pilot schools, 2,466 flight students, and 2,679 flight instructors. And whereas general aviation in Minnesota contributes over $5.3 billion to the state's total economic output, and whereas general aviation not only supports Minnesota's economy, it improves overall quality of life by supporting emergency medical and healthcare services, law enforcement, firefighting, and disaster relief, and by transporting business travelers to their destinations quickly and safely. And whereas the nation's aviation infrastructure represents an important public benefit, and congressional oversight should be in place of this system to ensure that it remains a public system and serves communities of all sizes. Now therefore, I, Mark Peterson, Mayor of the City of Winona, do hereby proclaim general aviation a vital strategic resource to the City of Winona and declare November 2018 as General Aviation Appreciation Month in the City of Winona. Also, I'd like to remind everybody to vote if you haven't already. Tomorrow's midterm elections are important, and everybody should exercise the right to vote. Also want to thank all those that were involved in the Masato student visit recently. Especially, I'd like to thank Councilwoman Alexander for all of her efforts on behalf of the city and the Winona International Friendship Association and Joe Lepley and just a whole lot of people that work hard to make this program a success every year. And I know you do a lot, Michelle, so thank you for that. And I'd also like to invite our sheriff, Ron Ganrud, up to give us kind of an update on what's going on with the discussion about a jail.
Thank you for the invite. I think there's a little miscommunication. Tom and I were at another meeting, and I guess my understanding with the chief was that I was going to come tonight, but maybe everyone didn't understand that.
Well, this is a good night to do it, I think.
Okay. So just a little bit on the jail. We, our jail was opened in 1978. And it's a 35-bed jail, but we're considered at capacity of 28. In 2005, we opened the jail annex. We can hold we do hold about 20 down there, we can hold 44. That was supposed to be a stopgap for our overcrowding. And it did help eliminate a lot of our problems. When we were looking at that, we were in the 80s for daily population. Right now, we're in the low 50s. Last year we were at 51 average daily population for the year. We are currently housing 15 prisoners every day down in Houston County, and that's at about $50 a day. The contract with them is up this year, so we're negotiating that right now. We're also talking to Waukesha County. But things kind of came to a head after I got sheriff. First they downsized us, or they reduced us to a 90-day lockup rather than a one-year facility. And this last year they did their annual jail inspection, and we got a letter saying that they are sunsetting our jail. It will be closed as of September 31st, 2021, unless we make substantial improvements to it, I guess you'd say, or build a new jail. there's some talk out there that, well, let's do what Wabasha did and just close the jail. Well, if we do that, we have to house all those prisoners out. Right now, it's $50 a day. I don't know what the future brings, but it's going up each year right now. We'd also have to transport those inmates back and forth from Caledonia or Wabasha. We've had one serious accident so far where four inmates and the driver were transported to the hospital. No one was seriously hurt, but the potential is always there with that many transports. We averaged bookings last year for 2017 was 1,700 bookings. If we have to haul 1,700 people a year back and forth for court and everything else, and the sheriff is responsible for their safety, and obviously the public safety. We were kind of unprecedented here a year and a half ago. We had 3 murder suspects in custody all at the same time. Couldn't hold one of them in our jail because we also, right now, can't hold maximum security prisoners. One of those gentlemen went to court. That meant every day I had somebody on overtime, getting up early, driving to Caledonia, picking him up, 2 unarmed guards and 1 armed guard, pick that prisoner up, bring him up here on time to start court, sit with them all day in court, transport them back to Caledonia after court was done for the day, and then in the morning go back and get them again. So you can imagine that got to be pretty expensive for the county. But I just want to give you a little bit of an update of where we're at. We do have a jail advisory committee that was formed. We had our first meeting in January 2018. We've met monthly. They started out with 26 people on that advisory group, and I would say there's a good core group of maybe 15 that have attended almost every meeting. We have a facilitator for that meeting, Tom Weber, and he's very knowledgeable and keeps us pointed in the right direction and gives assignments to different groups. We have one of our jail staff that's putting statistics together for us, so we will be able to give a report to the county board here, probably right around the first of the year. Again, it's supposed to be options that are available to Winona County. Obviously, one option is let the jail close and transport everybody out. To me, that's not a very good option. Another option would be to remodel our facility to something. We have to find out what the cost would be, but I would think it would be cost prohibitive. We could build a 72-hour holding facility, hold people up to 72 hours, and then after they've gone to court, if they get released, fine. If they don't, take them down to Caledonia. But again, we're responsible, the county is, if somebody has medical issues or dental issues or anything else, we have to get them to those appointments if they really need it. We could have, like we currently have, a 90-day facility, but understand our jail will be closed unless we do something. We won't have the annex, we won't have the upstairs jail anymore. They're not closing the building, so I mean, my office could stay there, Tom's office could stay there. We could use the facility, or the room where the jail is right now, to be storage, which we greatly lack. We have room in the parking lot to build a structure, a new jail, and really I would hope that we would acquire the property next door and put our parking lot there. So I really don't have anything else prepared, but if you have questions or comments.
I have a question. So that means if they close your facility, that would mean even a DUI or drunken disorderly or public intoxication, you would have to transport them somewhere else.
If St. Charles arrests somebody and takes them into custody and they're going to be held for court, my position on that is St. Charles would be hauling that prisoner to Caledonia or Wabasha. If the Winona Police Department has 5 people on duty and they arrest 2 people, you just lost 2 of your officers driving to Caledonia. So an hour down, hour long it takes to process them, and almost, well, an hour is a little longer. You get what I'm saying.
And
45, 50-minute drive down, drive back, plus processing.
And are we responsible for bringing them back to Winona if they're released?
No, once they're booked in, they become the sheriff's office responsibility.
Okay, so then you guys are responsible.
So if they got arrested on whatever, they got arrested today, and Tom had somebody haul them down to Caledonia, we would send somebody down to get them for the morning and bring them back to the court. If they got released, the judge released them, or they posted bond, we could let them go here. Otherwise, we're giving them a ride back down.
So then work release would become kind of a non-issue, because how would you work from Caledonia when the jobs are here? So a lot of the programming would suffer, fail, and we would be.
And I'm still checking this out. I have an email into the Department of Corrections, because I was just told after the jail summit, a week ago, that you're not keeping one thing in mind. And that is, if somebody gets sentenced to Huber, work release, it's the sheriff's responsibility to provide transportation to that person to and from work.
Okay.
If that's true, that opens up even more
Okay.
liability, responsibility, and cost to the company.
Okay.
When do you anticipate a decision will be made?
Well, we're still putting our things together, and we haven't scheduled anything with the county board yet as to the jail advisory options. But I'm thinking we're tying up the loose ends, we're getting a few more facts and figures together, so I would hope in January, February, we would do that presentation to the county board, and then we'll have to see what they have to say.
George?
Regardless of what decision is made, what then becomes of the dispatch center? Does that stay here, or does that get moved, or?
The dispatch center, I can't speak for the board because I don't know what they're going to do, but I think that even I was thinking wrong initially. I was thinking when I first got the letter from the DOC that they were closing our jail, but that meant they were closing our building. Our building needs some work, but the dispatch center is fine. Even if we build something in the parking lot, we can still keep our building, if that's what the county board decides to do, keep our building, keep the police department there if they want to stay with us, keep my offices right where they are. Again, use the jail area and the downstairs jail area for storage. Dispatch center can stay where they are, even if, we can do just like we're doing right now, because the dispatch center is also our control center for the jail. So if a jailer wants a certain cell block opened or a door open, they're getting on the radio saying, and you can still do that remotely.
Paul, you had something?
Yeah, so two questions related to costs. You said that we have roughly 15 inmates.
Right now we're paying for 15 a day down in Caledonia.
So that's about $274,000 a year.
Well, multiply it, yeah. I thought it was like 301, but somewhere in that neighborhood.
And that's just 15. And then that doesn't include transportation.
No transportation with that. That is just the stay at that hotel.
Do you have a rough idea how much our
That's what
transportation
we're
costs?
putting together.
Okay.
We have one of our staff on light duty, and he's going back and trying to determine what transport costs are just associated with the jail, because we do a lot of juvenile transports too, and we'd still be doing those anyway. Because I can't imagine they'll build a juvenile facility here.
But if we had a facility here, basically we wouldn't have the transport costs and we wouldn't have the holding costs.
Correct.
Thanks.
Al?
What about the Emergency Operations Center?
That again could stay downstairs. Ben Klinger shares office space with Jennifer Lavala, our dispatch supervisor. So they're stationed downstairs, they have their office, and then behind that, they have their EOC. And that could stay the same. So again, I don't know what I was thinking, that we would tear that whole building down and do something else, but I would say if we were to stay in that building, we just have to do a little bit of remodeling and fix it up, spruce it up.
You have options, in other words.
Excuse me?
You have options,
Yes.
in other words.
Anything else? Well, we sure appreciate the update, and
Yeah, and if I can ever come back and answer any other questions or have discussions, I would surely be happy to come back and see the council again.
thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have. City manager?
John Howard has a quick award to share with the community.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. 2 weeks ago, the Minnesota Invasive Species Advisory Council awarded Southeast Minnesota Rapid Responders, which includes the City of Winona, the Teamwork Award for this past year for early detection of invasive species. And Winona's, our job is a little bit easier because we have a lot of invasive species to detect and find. So we get credit for finding a lot of things because there's a lot of things here. Yeah, I got this award and just wanted to pass that along.
Oh, congratulations.
Is that a picture from Winona there?
What is that?
Doesn't quite
I
look like
really
it.
don't understand the picture. I think it's.
Purple loosestrife and,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a nice picture.
Up in the bottom. They're showing us the invasive species, I get it.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I get it.
All right, is that it?
The bittersweet's so bad you can't even see the bluffs.
There you go.
I want to pass along a great thanks to John Mullen, who retired with 32 years of park maintenance. We really appreciate all of his efforts over the years. And I want to pass along my thanks to the clerk and the rest of the staff that have been involved, as well as the volunteers who are preparing for our voting experience tomorrow. Thank you.
All right. Roll call?
Mayor Peterson,
Here.
Councilman Thurley,
Here.
Craig,
Here.
Alexander,
Here.
Iden,
Here.
Borzakowski,
Here,
Scholmeyer.
Here.
Under the petitions, requests, and communications section, item 3.1 is the appointment to the Fine Arts Commission of Rebecca Sims.
Move to approve that request.
Second.
Motion by Michelle and seconded by Paul. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Item 3.2 is the Partners in Energy Report for 2018, quarters 1 and 2.
John, you want to come back up and give some highlights of this?
Highlight reel. I like that.
Good evening again. So this is a report similar to one that was sent in earlier this summer, but this is for quarters 1 and 2 of 2018. It highlights basically all the rebate programs and other programs that Excel has within the city of Winona and how we are doing compared to 2016 and last year. One thing to note with this is that the graphs on page 1, they are comparing the first 2 quarters, or just half a year, to the previous full years. So our numbers are definitely down, but I think we are, in many cases, on a similar trajectory for 2017 in terms of total participation. Yeah, there's lots of information here as to total kilowatts and therms saved, and it's more for information purposes than anything. It doesn't show a few things that I think we're doing well under the focus area goals, but this is the kind of quantitative overall energy use savings for the first 6 months of the year.
Thank you very much.
May I-
Oh, you have a question?
John, how are we doing with our small business end for participation? Just kind of roughly.
We've pretty much met our small business participation goal. We have a goal of 40 businesses a year. And with an intern that I had over this past spring and summer, we engaged something in the neighborhood of 150 small businesses and maybe another 30 or 40 what we consider large businesses. So we've been meeting our goals in terms of total engagement, and hopefully that will show up in our total savings in the next report.
And is there any way, these charts don't show savings, dollar savings by any of the customers, do they? There's no way of finding out what that would be?
We could give a general idea based on the total kilowatts and therms saved. Those are, depends somewhat on the rate that's charged per those units, but you could probably get an averaged cost of electricity and get a reasonable guess. I have not run those numbers to see what that would look like.
Thanks.
Anybody else have anything? If not, thank you very much. Move on to the next item.
Under new business, item 5.1 is the agreement between the city of Winona and Borkowski Towing and Salvage.
Make a motion to authorize the city manager and clerk to execute the agreement.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Al. George?
And as I do every time this year, my name is Borzakowski, not Borkowski. No interest in the business, different spelling. But they do provide a very, very good service.
All right, we got that straight. Anything else? Not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Item 5.2 is the plat review for the J.T. Shane Onstead subdivision.
I'd make a motion to approve the attached resolution and accept the 2 attachments of the resolution that J.T. Shane
Second.
subdivision.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by George. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Item 5.3 is the plat review for the Geiger subdivision.
Make a motion to approve the attached resolution and accept the 2 attachments.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Paul. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
And item 5.4 is the plat review for the Bluffview Estates plat.
Make a motion to approve the attached resolution and accept the 2 attachments.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by George. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Item 5.5 is a request to borrow monies from the infrastructure fund to be reimbursed from the state aid account.
I'd make a motion to approve the attached resolution. Second that.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Pam. Discussion?
Just have a little information on this, or whoever can give it, or?
Basically, what's happened is to do the engineering costs, the state used to pay for them. Now we have to pay for them up front, and then we get reimbursed as part of the project. So it's just one pocket versus another.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anything else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Item 5.6 is the levy park event for the holiday market.
Make a motion to approve the staff requests. Second that.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Pam. I see we have Emily in the audience. Is there anything you'd like to say about the event?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am 1/3 of the entities that are working on this event. We were really excited when Allison Bettine, who is a vendor with Tiny Spoons, many of you may have seen her and enjoyed her wares at a number of farmers markets and events that happen in Winona, came to Lee Gundersheimer and I and said, I think a holiday market would be a great thing. I want to spearhead this with vendors. How can we partner with Main Street and the city? So it was really exciting to see individuals coming forward to support the movement that's been spearheaded by Main Street and the city already. The Main Street portion is we're really going to work hard in the next month and a half to secure some volunteers and funds and start the winter decorating of what the park will look like. Mostly this year it will be a lot of lights, but that's something we can start with. I know the park and rec has a lot of plans for some recreational activities that will go throughout the winter as well. But Allison is really spearheading the actual event, coordinating specific handmade vendors from around the region, really highlighting the holiday, gift giving, really themed off some of the European Christmas markets that you may be seeing in St. Paul or Chicago or Milwaukee. So that's the feel we're trying to capture.
I assume there'll be tents or
Yes.
some way to keep
Yes,
warm?
they're encouraged to bring tents with heat and to light up their tents as well.
And this will be mostly where the farmer's market is?
Yes.
Okay. I think it sounds like a fun event.
Yeah, I think so too.
Any other- No, thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Item 5.7 is the Community Forest Grant Acceptance.
I make a motion to approve and execute the attached contract.
Second that.
All right, a motion by Michelle, seconded by Pam. Discussion?
As a gopher, I did object to the Ohio buckeye trees being planted, but I was overruled.
It's native.
Sad.
It's been poorly named.
I'll send some gophers to Ohio instead.
Anything else? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Item 5.8 is to set a recess meeting to certify the results of the city general election.
Move to approve that request.
Second.
Motion by George, seconded by Michelle. Anybody have any problems with that date and time?
I'll be absent.
Okay. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Under 7.1, council concerns.
Well, let's start with Pam. We haven't seen her for a while. She must just be full of council concerns.
Very concerned, very concerned. Well, no, just a personal note. I've been using a walker here for the last week or two, and therefore it has come to my attention how important it is to have handicap accessibility. A lot of buildings, I'm not in, I can still step up, but I just really appreciate people who've gone to the trouble to install the handicap ramps and other facilities, the opening doors and so forth. So I believe that there's a move to make that more mandatory than it is now, and there may be some punitive measures associated with that. But meanwhile, I just have had personal experience and finding out how important it is.
All right, thank you. Paul?
Two things. I just want to acknowledge the outdoor rec program at WSU for their fantastic work up at Sugarloaf. 2 weekends ago, I was able to spend about 4 or 5 hours up there helping them do some clearing and neatening up, and still having to remove graffiti. I just can't get over why people need to tag something like Sugarloaf Rock. And I mean, the number of hours that they and the Minnesota Climbers Association has put in up there is just phenomenal, and the Goat Prairie is really starting to take shape up there, and I just am really grateful for all their work. And when I was up there that day, probably there were 100 people that were up there working that came down while I was going up, or that were coming up while I was going down. Just a large number of people. And of course, everybody go out and vote tomorrow.
All right, George?
Thank you. It's that time of year again that our Winona Windhawks will be heading up to US Bank Stadium again, and good luck to them. I know they will do very, very well. So, and also I just want to extend sympathy to the family of Mary Edelbeyer, who passed away here about a week ago, and just a lovely lady, caring lady, believed in her Polish heritage very, very heavily, raised a good family, and I am wearing my Polish sweatshirt tonight in honor of Mary Edelbeyer. May she rest in peace, and good luck to her family as they begin their healing process. Thank you.
Michelle?
I'm just going to share the gift we got from our sister city in Japan. Reiko Kimura made this for us. It says Misato Town, which means beautiful land. So she made that for us to display here. Oh, sorry. I'm going to throw it at you. And then they have a famous local artist that lives in Miyagi Prefecture, right near Misato, who created this painting for us. But I'll pass it down towards you, Pam. And then thank you, City of Winona. I think they had a phenomenal visit this time, and that's to the credit of all of you that you made them feel so welcome.
All right, thank you. Jerry?
Everybody said it, I'll say it again, just don't forget to vote. Now, anybody watching this, the thousands upon thousands of people that tune into our show all the time, we thank you, but seriously, anybody who watches this is going to vote. The real challenge is talk to somebody tomorrow who normally wouldn't vote and get them to vote. Doesn't matter who you vote for, just at least get out and vote. Not everybody votes, but it seems like everybody complains, so get out and do it. And as stated before, congratulations and good luck, time well deserved to Mr. Mullen on 32 years.
Al?
Just a reminder, vote tomorrow if you haven't already.
Okay.
Moving on to the consent agenda, there are 7 items. The approval of the minutes from October 15th, the final adoption of an ordinance for the proposed liquor license fees for 2019, an ordinance to zone the parcel on Garvin Heights Road, rural residential, an ordinance to remove handicap parking on Center Street, and an ordinance to establish handicap parking on Howard Street, and 2 claims, one by Brandon Strabely and one by Declan Walsh.
I would move approval of the consent agenda with the exception of item 8.1, the approval of the minutes, and I'll make a motion for correction of those minutes, assuming the other items are approved or there's a second.
Okay,
Second.
all right. We have a motion and a second. George?
Could I pull item 8.2 for a separate vote?
Okay. All right, we'll vote on all the items from 8.3 on. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
And I would make a motion for a correction to the minutes from the last meeting under the consent agenda, item 8.1 on the last meeting. It says that I move to approve the consent agenda and that I also seconded the motion, and my motion would be to approve the minutes with the correction, inserting the proper second for that motion.
Why did you second it
So
if you made the
moved.
motion?
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
how's that work?
Let someone else have a turn.
gee, whiz.
Who's in a hurry to get out of here?
Does anybody remember who seconded it?
I'll do it.
Okay,
Just-
all right, it was Paul. I remember that very well.
I remember it well, yes.
Yeah,
Memorable.
it's in there.
With that correction, I
All
would
right,
move
we'll vote on item 8.1
That's accuracy.
with those corrections. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
I'd make a motion to approve 8.2.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Paul, to approve 8.2. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
6-1.
And our
And we don't adjourn, right?
move to adjourn.
Oh, we do move to adjourn?
I
Well,
would
I'll move
second.
to recess
Recess.
to
Recess the
Friday.
meeting.
To recess.
Till
Recess to Friday at 11 a.m.
So moved. Second.
All right, we have a motion by Michelle, seconded by Pam. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
We're in recess.
Can I get that too?
That's a long